Dear Ambazonians, nearly everyone in southern Cameroon has heard of the word freedom. Your storied history through this past century has made you realize what it means to move about freely, to speak your minds without fear of molestation. These freedoms and more will continue to be yours. But if you vote for union with Cameroon Republic, you will invite a system under which everyone lives in fear of the police and the army. You will not be free to move about. You cannot lecture freely or discuss your political views in public. You must carry your tax receipt around your neck like a dog, and you can be arrested and flogged by the police and even imprisoned without a fair trial. This is my premonition about the fate which awaits you. EML Ndeli, February 1961.
I am a Southern Cameroonian. I am a freedom fighter. I have been enslaved for 55 years. I will fight and die for the liberation of my people. I will shed the last ounce of blood of my veins to accomplish this. Even if I die, let my bones speak from the grave. For I am a proud, born Southern Cameroonian.
Oh Lord, my God.
Okay, I was told by a friend, he said he went out in the morning and he saw old women going to church. And one turned and saw her friend, and she said, "Come quickly, let's go and pray for Sisiko."
Sure.
I tell you what, the demon might be in front of me. Somehow, the one who's in me is bigger. We're going to make this because we know how God never fails.
For the Republic of Cameroon, what has happened is kerosene poured into the fire. That fire will burn until all our people gain their freedom and the Southern Cameroons become a sovereign nation. One thing is clear with what just happened, which is proof of what we have always known from the beginning of this struggle, that the United Nations, the Commonwealth, the AU, the EU, all these so-called international organizations, they don't care about us, about our plight, about our struggle. They are behind the Republic of Cameroon. We saw what happened in Rwanda. We saw what happened in Southern Sudan. Right now, we know that nobody, no diplomacy is going to give us our country back. We have to take it back by ourselves. And by all means, the moment has come. Yaoundé will hear from us. We call upon everybody in the Southern Cameroons to get ready to defend his or herself and to defend our territory. This interim government has just gotten a wake-up call, and we are ready for the task. We are ready to take up the challenge. Taking our leaders to Yaoundé isn't stopping this revolution. We are ready and determined now, more than ever before, to fight. Ambazonians should rest assured that this revolution has no other destination than Boya. The arrest of our leaders, of course, it isn't going to derail this struggle. The fight has just started. Every Ambazonian called upon to be ready for the challenge that lies ahead right now. war is declared upon us, and war we accept. We will fight till we live free or die. We will fight till the southern Cameroon is free.
Hail this land of glory, we the Amazonians pledge our loyalty. Praises to our Savior who granted us our freedom, allegiance to the hero who bowed the land with Diablo. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in our nation, flowing with earth and honey. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meet our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meet our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
We pray for all our leaders that God will give them sound wisdom and knowledge to be able to carry out the difficult tasks that God has assigned them in various fields and in various vocations.
Our Father and our God, we just want to thank you. Father, we just want to thank you for a day like this. We lift up your name, O Heavenly Father. We glorify you. We magnify your name. We give you all praise, all adoration, all honor, Father. You alone are worthy. Father, Lord, without you, there is nothing. Lord, in the beginning, you were. Today you are. You will be forever. Father God, we are in the first and in the last. Father, you've chosen this day, Lord, that we gather as a people, as a church, the Church of Jesus Christ, Father God, to commission one of us, a servant, a dedicated servant, into your holy hands, Lord. That, Father God, you will guide him, you will protect him, you will direct him. Father God, you said, Lord, the heart of every king is in your hands. Father God, let his heart be in your hands. That God, you will direct it the way that, Lord, it will be pleasing. That God, his heart will bleed for the suffering masses. Father God, we cancel any spirit, any power from the kingdoms of darkness, every spirit, oh God, from the air, from the sea, from the land, wherever it is coming from, Father God, over his life. Father God, we shield him with your blood. That God, your blood you shed on the cross. Father God, Lord, you will not be shed a second time. Father God, this commission, oh God, you have ordained it. Father God, you cannot call, you cannot, that you will not equip. You have not spoken, oh God, not to fulfill. Father God, you have spoken. Lord, let it come to pass in our days. Father God, direct it. Give him wisdom, understanding. Father God, all that surpasses all, give him love in his heart. Because God, if there is no love in his heart, Father God, he will not show love to his people. Father God, fill him with love, that God, love will surpass him. Surpassing that God, he will have much to share. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Father God, we commit, oh God, everything that is due, every travel, Father God, we seal the airs, we seal the seas, every traveling means that he will use, Father God, we seal it with the blood of Jesus.
Blood of Jesus Christ.
Father God, as he goes into this mission, Father God, we lift him up into your hands. We lift up the whole team into your hands. Father God, that those who go with him, Father God, direct them, Father God, that Lord, they will not misdirect him, that they will not mislead him, oh Heavenly Father. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for answered prayers. Thank you, O Lord, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen.
Amen.
Unto God's gracious mercy and protection we commit you. May the Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Ambaperspective. Raymond, good evening, and welcome to the show today.
Good evening, Derek. I welcome all man we day on show to watch with today, as we still there in probably the fourth week, where we don't know where our leaders in day. We just want to thank everybody we don't come on Facebook for watch. Say make una share so that more people will come on board and we will talk. And we want for also thank all those who they back home. We feel understand. Just like as you don't forget, my mind play terrible games with me, and if you imagine how much that game they go on for all our minds now as we should don't, because media they just play for both of us. This man they talk this story today, another man come on talk this story tomorrow. Chiroma cricket man talk his own. Nigeria she don't quiet. These things just be confusing as I she don't now for so I don't even know my left to my right. So maybe we just sit tight and then we talk in this show. Maybe by the time we end the show today, we will get some kind of clarity and start to think in a positive direction.
Indeed, Raymond, there's a lot of permutations out there. The thing has become like we are trying to predict a lotto game on exactly what happened. It's what it is. And there's a quote by a wise man which said, it's in moments of difficulties that decisions that shape the future are made. And I think that we Ambazonians, we are around those times now, and we need to make decisions that would shape our future. And in this show today, we will take our time. We will try to analyze what we all know. We need to go through some analysis together as a people, and we hope that when we go through the analysis together, it will give you some comfort. It would give you some peace of mind. And at the end of it all, every Southern Cameroonian need to take a collective responsibility at this moment and do what they have to do so that we free Ambaland. That is the only thing that matters most. I think that is the only thing that matters in the hearts of our leaders, wherever they are. What matters to them most is to know if we are putting everything, whatever it takes, so that we free Ambaland. And we know that there's a lot of worries out there. We know that there's a lot of questions out there. I mean, the best of us have got questions in their mind. But right now, as emotional as it might be, you are looking at an enemy who doesn't blink, who wants to do whatever. So no matter how painful those moments are, we have to be rational in our thinking. We have to be rational in our emotions. We cannot be emotional. We cannot act emotionally, because we have an enemy out there who is spending a lot of resources on strategy just to outsmart us, and it's very important that we remain rational, we remain focused throughout our pain, and it will pass, and we shall overcome. So, so the very first thing that I want us to analyze together is that press briefing that Issa Chiroma, the spokesperson for La République du Cameroun, gave in Yaoundé on Monday. So we will play through that press briefing together. We will analyze it together, and then there's a couple of analyses that other experts have analyzed that we need to go through together. For us to find comfort, we need to look at the various analysis, and then we can start making permutations of what really is. Please, like I said, as emotional as it is, we need to be rational in thinking. We need to be rational in action, because our enemy doesn't sleep, and all our enemy wants is truly to eradicate us, because our enemy is desperate. So let's watch that analysis, that press briefing by Issa Chiroma, and we will analyze together.
The government of Cameroon hereby announces to the national and international public opinion that a group of 47 terrorists, including Mr. Ayub Tabe, were handed a few hours ago to the Cameroonian judiciary, before which they will be tried for their crimes. The government of Cameroon takes this opportunity to commend the excellent multifaceted cooperation existing between Nigeria and Cameroon, particularly with regard to security. The government of Cameroon reaffirms the determination of both countries, under the leadership of their respective head of state, never to tolerate that their territory be used as a base for destabilizing activities directed against one of them. I express gratitude and thanks.
Yeah, or we be sit tight, wait this Chiroma basket mouth and cricket mouth, maybe can't talk this nonsense we talk and so. You know, when I listen to this guy closely, I get a lot of wonder. You know, so until he talk about handed over to the judiciary, I don't know whether when he say handed over to the judiciary, now the Nigerian what they come on Nigeria pass go for judiciary directly, or they be done the La Republic for a long time, and then they process them for hand them over to the judiciary before they make this announcement. Because when he talk that talk, so we other French media, they will already start to talk, say the day La Republic. The times, the way the Giam say the day La Republic, it differ, and I still not understand how Nigeria will send our people to La Republic for one simple fact. When they call that word extradite, it beats my imagination, because when you extradite some person, it goes through a legal system. You need to just catch person, put up a plane, return it to a country, call and say extradite it. Now an adoption, they adopt our leaders, they kidnap them, take them, go at all they La Republic, and they call them an extradition. That one put Nigeria for a very precarious position right now, and in the days ahead, a lot will come out, because I need to see any way these our leaders, they be just get to leave Nigeria unceremoniously without any form of legal proceedings, without any form of you know, checking who be who amongst all of them before you just send them for La Republic. So when Chiroma they talk about handing to the judiciary, it really come across as 81 Terry say they will don't do for La Republic long time, they just process them for. And then I start to ask another question: how Nigeria will just send people for La Republic, and then they lie say they did Nigeria, they lie say they don't go send them. You know, I really know I still get my head around this. Maybe there you go, if it's don't get the head around them, but I don't know.
Well, Ray, the first thing in that press conference for me was the body language for Issa Chiroma. He spoke the words, but his body he wasn't sure. There was no certainty in what he was saying. We have seen Chiroma announce victories before. We saw him announce the laptops. We have seen him announce some wins for his government. And you always see his mood. You know, remember when Chiroma announced the arrest of Bala when he did a press conference, and for them that morning you saw him. You see somebody who was confident. You did not see it in this press briefing. And then now the content of the press briefing, it's very sketchy. It doesn't talk to the process that was used to bring them to Cameroon. And let us give it a benefit of doubt that this is an official position of the Cameroon government, that they have extradited these people from Nigeria to Cameroon and handed to the judiciary, as Chiroma said. This was on Monday. And first of all, it means that he had an interview with BBC Africa, I think yesterday, and they asked him a few questions. So the best person to analyze his own press conference is Chiroma himself. Let us listen to him answer questions on BBC. I think we'll make more of the press briefing that he gave from the questions that he answers from the BBC journalists. And then right after that, we will listen to an expert, an Amnesty International senior official who covers the Central African region, speak to the arrest, speak to all that, and then we'll take it from there. So let's listen to that interview that Chiroma gave on BBC Africa.
And promoted, they will have access to whatever is foreseen, predicted, and by the law.
Can you confirm that Julius Ayoktabe is among the 47, the self-declared leader of the secessionist group?
Yes, I am positive he is among the 47 who have been arrested, extradited, and who are right now in Cameroon.
And how did they get extradited?
There is no way to tell you how it happens. All action, all decisions which have been undertaken and made have been done within the framework of the law. No violation of the law as far as their extradition and their stay here in Cameroon today is concerned.
What about violation of international law? Because as I understand it, Nigeria and Cameroon don't have an extradition treaty.
This is your own assessment of the situation. You are peremptory, you are adamant, but allow me to repeat what I said. All that have been taken and action done have been done within the framework of the law. Cameroon and Nigeria are two law-abiding nations. Law-abiding, no breach of law, no violation of law has taken place and will never take place along this process.
Would you describe it as an extraordinary cooperation then between the governments of Nigeria and Cameroon in bringing this about?
We are two brotherly nations. We have more than 2,000 kilometers of common border. We are today confronted with the same enemy, Boko Haram. And what we are doing today is to protect and to promote the interests of each other.
And that's Cameroon's Minister of Communication, Issa Chiroma Bakary. Well, it's an issue that still raises concern from organizations like Amnesty International, who are looking closely at the conditions of arrest and the process of justice. Iliada Allegrozi is a senior researcher for their region.
Yes, indeed. Cameroon's Minister of Communication described the 47 Anglophones who have been returned to Cameroon as terrorists. And in Cameroon, those charged with crimes related to terrorism are, as you might know, prosecuted under the very draconian 2014 anti-terrorism law, which has been subjected to a wide criticism from both the domestic and international human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, because the law is very restrictive and it restricts the basic rights protected under the Cameroonian constitution first, and also international human rights law.
So you're not reassured then that they will be charged or released in due course?
No, we are concerned about the treatment of the 47 people returned to Cameroon. We believe there could be a risk of torture and also unfair trial. Amnesty International has documented the widespread use of torture in Cameroon by the security forces and the intelligence service. Plus, we have documented unfair trial before the military jurisdictions. And if they're charged under the anti-terror law, these people will be tried before the military jurisdictions in Cameroon. So there's a real risk for us of torture, first of all, which has been widely documented by Amnesty International, as well as unfair trial and incommunicado detention. So we are very concerned about this extradition.
But we have heard from the communications minister there, saying that they haven't been charged, they're being investigated within the framework of the law. He says Cameroon and Nigeria are two law-abiding nations, and they'll be investigated within the framework of the law. Is that not reassuring?
Well, even if Cameroon can technically ask for their extradition under Commonwealth-related treaties, for example, extradition should be challenged because of the political nature of the offense, for example, and also the associated risk of unfair trials and torture. It should be highlighted that some of those who have been arrested in Nigeria and extradited to Cameroon were legally living in Nigeria, and some of them had been granted also political asylum and refugee status.
Are you saying that the extradition then from Nigeria could have been illegal itself?
Yeah, it could have been challenged, and as I was saying, like among those arrested were people living legally in Nigeria being granted asylum. So under the Nigerian law, it would be illegal to extradite these people for political crimes, for example, or if they can face the risk of torture or unfair trial in the other state where they are extradited to, in this case, Cameroon.
We haven't heard from the Nigerian government or Nigerian authorities why they would have gone and done this, at least not yet. But does it concern Amnesty the way in which these people have been apparently extradited?
Yeah, especially because some of them have been held in Nigeria incommunicado without access to lawyers, friends, doctors, and authorities in Nigeria should have immediately disclosed the whereabouts of those arrested and allow them to access a lawyer as legal assistance unless they had sufficient evidence to, charge them with a recognizable crime.
And that's Ilaria Aligrossi of Amnesty International. Still to come in Focus.
Barrister Fulton, as I said earlier, a common law lawyer, a legal mind here in the country's economic capital, Douala, is our guest for tonight. Barrister, good evening. Thank you so much for coming.
Good evening, madam. Thank you for inviting me.
Good evening once again. Barrister, you say that the 47 arrested Anglophones in Nigeria that were transferred recently to Cameroon were simply abducted and not arrested. Why did you say so?
Yes, I say so, and I want to dispute the number. I don't know where that number is coming from. I say so because there's a procedure for extradition, and that procedure is a procedure in court. And there has been no court hearing since these people were abducted on the 5th of January. There has been no court hearing. And Mr. Chiroma did not tell us a lot of things. He didn't tell us when they arrived in Cameroon.
He said few hours ago.
No, he said few hours ago they were given over to the judicial authorities. He did not say that few hours ago they arrived Cameroon. No, unless I didn't hear you well. I didn't hear him well. Now, extradition must have a judgment. If Mr. Chiroma keeps using the word extradition, he should publish that judgment. It should publish that judgment by the Abuja High Court. It should publish that judgment by the Abuja High Court that authorized the Nigerian government to hand over those people to them. So the only other option that is kidnapping.
There is this interesting post or outing of a human rights lawyer that has actually written, and let me quote him, his words. He said that the transfer of Sisiku Ayuk and others was not the decision of Nigeria's Attorney General according to the Nigerian Extradition Act.
Exactly.
The Attorney General must be moved and that the suspect given the opportunity to defend themselves.
Exactly.
It is everything other than deportation. Those were his declarations.
Exactly.
Is that what you are talking about?
That is what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. The Attorney General of Nigeria knows nothing about how these people were brought to this country. Therefore, the judicial system in Nigeria knows nothing about how these people were gotten from Nigeria. And the only other thing left is a very well worked out kidnapping organized between the two secret services of Cameroon and Nigeria. There are no other ways. And when the Nigerian government knows about it, they have to take responsibility. Because the United Nations High Commission for Refugees is in Nigeria. What is the United Nations High Commission for Refugees saying about this? And let Mr. Churuma show us these people who have arrived in Cameroon. Because since the 5th of January, nobody has seen them. No. Nobody has seen them. Up to and including now that I'm talking to you. No lawyer, no family member, nothing. If they are in Cameroon, where are they? Have they been seen by family members? Have they been seen by any lawyer? Where are they? They are terrorists. Let me finish. Handcuff them, bring them to the press, and say these are your terrorists, because they consider them, this government consider those people terrorists. So, if they are terrorists, therefore they are dangerous. Show us on the screen, CRTV or whatever network that they use, so that we know, we Cameroonians we're entitled to know, to see the faces of these people.
And calling them terrorists, it therefore indicates that their fate has so far been defined.
Yes, they have already defined.
Because he indicated that they are those responsible for the atrocities being committed in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. Does it mean that the court that they are going to be tried in is already known?
Yes. If it's multi-tribunal, then it is sure we already know what the outcome is going to be. But I want to also to sound an alarm. I may be pessimistic, but nobody has seen any of those people. Are they alive? Are they living? Let's see them.
That's another curiosity.
That's another curiosity.
Barrister, the Minister of Communication has actually hailed the military cooperation between Cameroon and Nigeria, because you are talking about the fact that there's no legal provision that allows Cameroon to extradite those that have been arrested, refugees from neighboring Nigeria to Cameroon. Could there be some bilateral ties because of the cooperation between Cameroon and Nigeria?
I want to give that to them. That is there may be some bilateral agreement, but that agreement operates only during war. These people were taken by DSS in Nigeria, police. Was there any war situation where they say they were captured or the war front, just like Cameroon captured Nigerian terrorists in the north and handed the terrorists to Nigeria? That was in a war situation where terrorists were captured. These people were holding a meeting in a hotel. Were they armed? Were they dangerous? Was there a war situation? Nigeria and Cameroon will have to explain to the world what is going on here.
Now, the African Bar Association talked about the illegality of the arrest. We call it so officials of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees in Nigeria talking about it, calling it illegal, that it is illegal to transfer a refugee from the country that is hosting them, like in Nigeria, to Cameroon after they have been arrested. What do you have to say about the current twist of events? following their reactions?
Well, the African Bar Association is doing what it has to do, but they should also know that dictators don't listen to that kind of thing.
So they should do more than that.
They should do more than that. They have to go to court somewhere, somehow. If they are really serious, pronouncements alone will not do it. But I want to sound an alarm. Where are these people? If they are in Cameroon, let the Minister of Communication, government spokesman, ask the security people to display them, and we see them on the screen. Because since the 5th of January, nobody has seen them.
One of the biggest questions, what will happen from now, after it has been confirmed that they are in Cameroon? What will happen between now, hence?
Well, I don't know whether they will allow lawyers to see them. The next few days will tell. If they allow lawyers to see them...
It's still an uncertainty what will happen.
There's uncertainty. We don't know what is going on. Mr. Chiroma can come and run his mouth and say all whatever he wants to say, but we want to see proper action. We want to see, we Cameroonians are interested to see his, quote, terrorists. Even if they have to chain them and defend them, and we see them.
Now, Barrister, what will be the impact of this on the current situation in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon that has been going on for more than 1 year now?
The situation is already very volatile. The situation in North and Southwest is already very volatile. I am suspecting that it's going to escalate. It's going to escalate. That's my suspicion. As a political observer, I think that they have thrown petrol on an existing fire. Because they have to do that. Why did they not go legally? If these people actually were arrested in Nigeria normally, they should have had their day in court for extradition, so that a judgment should be issued. If Mr. Chiroma is talking about extradition, let him publish the judgment of the Abuja High Court.
No, Barrister, it's observers have it that for the Cameroonian authorities to work in collaboration with Nigerian authorities to secure the transfer of the arrested Ambazonian leaders from Nigeria to Cameroon. It means that the situation of refugees, thousands of them that are in Nigeria, is also going to be very
Exactly. That is my fear.
It's going to be another problem.
That is my fear.
It means they are not safe in Nigeria. That's another issue.
The implication of what has just happened means that the refugees in Nigeria are not safe. We, English-speaking people in this country, we don't have any place to run to. If you are being pursued today, you cannot escape to a neighboring country, because we have Nigeria, which I thought up to now was a place where an Anglophone who is escaping persecution, political persecution, can run to. Number two, we are surrounded by Francophone countries who listen to the BI regime. So we are finished. We are in a pot. Everybody is in a pot. And the worst of it is that the refugees in Nigeria do not have protection at all, because the High Commission for Refugees has failed everybody, because they have not come out with any communique up to now, since these people were known to be in Cameroon. They have said nothing.
Are you talking about the United Nations High Commission for Refugees?
Yes.
They have been making a series of outings stating the number of Cameroonians that
Can they carefully say that they saw those leaders in Nigeria? I have not seen anything that suggests that they saw them. Nobody has seen those people since the 5th of January.
Now, Barrister, if there were proposals that you would give as far as the current situation is concerned, if you were to give some recommendations, what would they be?
The people that were supposed to pilot the negotiations for now have been arrested. That is, if they are alive. If they think that they have cut the head of this struggle, they are lying, because it has instead put fire in the whole thing. Until that fire quenches a little bit, for any dialogue to take place, the only solution is a dialogue, an inclusive dialogue. There is no country without problems. But it looks like the Biya regime is not interested in any kind of dialogue. Mr. Chiroma said it. We do not negotiate with terrorists. We are not going to negotiate with secessionists and terrorists. And he calls the people who have arrived, that is if they are here, because up to now I cannot confirm that they are here until I see them. He calls them terrorists. So he cannot negotiate with them. And who is a terrorist among us Anglophones? Who is a terrorist? I don't know. So, where are we going? We are heading towards a civil war. And I don't know whether there's any way to prevent it. We must have a judgment. If Mr. Chiroma keeps using the word extradition, he should publish that judgment. He should publish that judgment by the Abuja High Court. He should publish that judgment by the Abuja High Court that authorized the Nigerian government to hand over those people to them. So the only other option that is left is kidnapping.
There is this interesting post or outing of a human rights lawyer that has actually written, and let me quote him, his words. He said that the transfer of Sisiku Ayuk and others was not the decision of Nigeria's Attorney General according to the Nigerian Extradition Act.
Exactly.
The Attorney General must be moved, and that the suspect given the opportunity to defend themselves.
Exactly.
It is everything other than deportation. Those were his declarations.
Exactly.
Is that what you're talking about?
That is what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. The Attorney General of Nigeria knows nothing about how these people were brought to this country. Therefore, the judicial system in Nigeria knows nothing about how these people were gotten from Nigeria. And the only other thing left is a very well worked out kidnapping organized between the two secret services of Cameroon and Nigeria. There are no other ways. And when the Nigerian government knows about it, they have to take responsibility. Because the United Nations High Commission for Refugees is in Nigeria. What is the United Nations High Commission for Refugees saying about this? And let Mr. Chiroma show us these people who have arrived in Cameroon. Because seeing the 5th of January, nobody has seen them. No. Nobody has seen them.
Sorry for letting you watch a lot of clips, but it was important that we all watch from a legal mind. You heard Senior Barrister John made some legal analysis to what has happened the last few days, and you heard Chiroma on BBC on record. And what I want us to note, a few things that I want us to note. First, I said, the situation that we are in, we find ourselves in a place where, as painful as it is, as a people, we have to continuously be rational in our thinking so that we can think clearly and then we know how to act clearly. So let us think through this process. The first thing is that the government of La République du Cameroon has called for a press conference to announce the extradition of Southern Cameroonians from arrested in Nigeria, as they said, and to transferring them to Cameroon. Chiroma did the announcement. He was interviewed on BBC. Note when he was asked, "Is Sisiku Ayuk Tabe part of the 37, the number that Chiroma is giving, part of the 47 that were brought over handed over to Cameroon?" And he said he is positive. Now, if you get it, he's not certain. That is not, yes, he was brought in. He is positive. So leaving that assumption aside, you have heard a legal argument as to what has happened in the few days. And this is what I want us Amazonians to all have in mind. Let us not dismiss any permutation, but let us hold on to the things that have actionable things that we can do so that we can continue with our struggle. The first thing is that on the 24th, the UN High Commission, the UN Refugee Services in Nigeria put out a statement and said they have met our leaders. Our leaders are in good condition in Nigeria, and they are being interrogated by the Nigerian security forces, and Nigeria has committed that they will not extradite those people to Cameroon. That was the statement from the UN Human Rights Services Commission in Nigeria. That is an official statement. Then, on the other hand, the government of Cameroon puts out an official statement that Nigeria has extradited these people. So the first thing that we as Southern Cameroonians expect, and our interim government should demand immediately, is for the UN to make a statement. To make a statement and tell us how is that possible. That is an action that needs to happen. And we Ambazonians need to ask our interim government to hold the UN office to make an official statement. You made an official statement as to what is happening. Now you need to make an official statement because the government of Cameroon has made an official statement. Now the next thing, the Cameroon government has made an official statement that these people have been brought to Cameroon and they have been handed to the judiciary system. Now this goes specifically to lawyers and those who uphold the law, the people in the law fraternity in La République du Cameroun. What does their law say? Yes, you have arrested, they have arrested and sent over criminals to you. Do these people have rights? What are those rights? I think part of those rights are access to their lawyers, access to their families, and first of all, the Cameroon government owes the Cameroonian people proof that these people have been brought to Cameroon and they are alive and they are going to go through a judiciary process. So the legal community in Cameroon needs to stand up and start holding their government to prove that they have indeed brought these people to Cameroon. These people are alive and these people are going to be persecuted through their system. That is what all legal practitioners in Cameroon must do. Without doing that, it means that Cameroon is not a country of law. So this is their work cut out for them. Their government has said they have extradited people and they're in our country and we have handed to the judiciary system. So fine. You, the people who uphold the law, need to hold that government and say, okay, fine, you have brought them to Cameroon. Show us the people first. Let us see them. Let us see that they are alive. Let us see that you are keeping them in a maximum detention and they will go through the judiciary process. So this is what lawyers in Cameroon and even Ambazonian lawyers must all rally and call on the Cameroon government to follow its own laws. The law, you have heard the senior barrister analyzed what the law is. Now, the next part is the implication of the statement of the UN and the statement of the Cameroon government to the government of Nigeria. We cannot let Nigeria off the hook because from the 5th of January, since our leaders were arrested, Nigeria has not made any official statement. The UN said Nigerian government has promised that they will not extradite them to Cameroon, but the Cameroon official statement is saying otherwise. But what the UN statement and the Cameroon statement consistently tell us and the world is that the Nigerian government arrested them, dismissing kidnap. So fine, that now means that our interim government, again, as an actionable point, must demand the Nigerian government. We, the people of Ambazonia, must demand the Nigerian government to tell us what were the arrest charges that led to them arresting our people. Why did they hold them without communications to their lawyers or to their families for 3 weeks? Why did they hand them to Cameroon and how? What process did they go through? Because Barrister F.R.A said the Attorney General of Nigeria does not know about the process. Did Nigeria do something illegal? So that is a legal cloud over the head of the government of President Buhari of Nigeria. And these questions We Ambazonians must continue mounting pressure on Nigeria throughout the embassies in the world, through all channels, on social media, and call them out until they come out and answer the questions that they need to answer. The chronology of the story does not sound convincing at all, which gives birth to the school of thought that maybe these people have not even been sent to Cameroon and they're still held in Nigeria. That is another possibility. But all the official statements are actionable points that we must take. We must hold Cameroon government, Cameroonians must hold Cameroon government to prove what they have said. And we must hold Nigeria, and we must hold the UN. All those things must happen. All those things must happen until we see proof of life that our leaders are alive and proof of what they are being held for, so that we know that they will have their day in court. Without all that proof, it gives birth to the other permutation that they might have killed them in cold blood. So we cannot dismiss any school of thought, but my thinking is that all the official statements must be held accountable. UN has made an official statement, Cameroon has made an official statement. Let us hold them to those statements. Let us hold them to those statements. And as we push on all these angles, clarity would begin to come, because there is one party who hasn't said anything yet, and that party is the Nigerian government.
Yeah, you see, all this talk and wait away another year from the 5th of January to the 31st of January right now, it only take me to another level, because one thing where I feel where we need to start doing now will become extremely radical in Nigeria and in La Republic, because and all over, because I don't feel understand, say they don't arrest our president. President of a country, this way they don't arrest them. All along we would like to say no, make we just the try for negotiate for see where then they I not buy that negotiating thing at all, because I don't realize that the world is run, it's a mafia system. The world they run a game of interest. If I want something from you, if I want to do anything, I do and explain it for my citizens tomorrow. I don't give a damn what they think. Presidents in countries, governments can do whatever they want, and no man, no go do anything for them. I don't understand how Nigeria, where would they hail like one of the biggest countries and respectable countries in Africa and in the world, would bundle important people like that and just send them for a country where the human rights violations in that country, where Issa Chiroma open mouth says it's a country of law. Country of what law? I don't understand how Nigeria, who thinks in a country of law itself, to carry people like that, send them out, may they go for La Republic where it be lawless. Right now, the only way we get answers to this, to my opinion, I say make Ambazonians in Nigeria go and sleep at their presidency, whether or not their presidency, may they go shit on there 24/7, ask for know where their leaders are. We need for put pressure, because if we should not the only one for say now the internal government will go to ask for background, the try to negotiate all these things. There is nothing like that. It look like the leader and one now the same you can't force and they tell you something. I don't understand how Nigerian government will stay quiet for more than 3 weeks. They arrest people, they adopt people inside the country when she don't quiet for more than 3 weeks. So other countries they claim say they don't receive those people, they don't go through an extradition process where it don't happen when she don't quiet. And then we Ambazonians, we should not quiet. We know they radically ask Nigerian government to explain. I mean, to me, I don't see any rationale for what we do right now. Every Ambazonian in the diaspora will need to go for Nigerian High Commission. We're going to go for all the embassies. If they was take out for them, sleep for them, they take shit for sleep for them until they give me answers. We go to Nigerian for the foreign affairs in Nigeria. We stay there, we sleep there day in, day out until they give us answers. It just be unfortunate, say for Amberland, they will kill our people, because if not be so, they will go out to and ask to see their leaders, because I don't see why we go sit down for one place and be ready to go sit down for Nigerian embassy day in, day out. We need to put force. We don't need for sit down between the 4 arms. They talk every day. We're not going to need to talk. Right now, I'll be as good as dead as or arrested as any one of those leaders. We did for jail. Are they out of the country? I don't even know how to go back to my land. I should not be able to do it. As I should not be able, the only thing in my mind right now, I say, maybe we stand up and fight. We are on our own. UN will tell you one thing, then they do another thing. Whether the UN High Commission for Refugees or whatever, say they will never send them to La Republic, and yet they did. If at all they're there, Nigerian authorities, where they talk their own, they get who hire one of the best lawyers in Nigeria, the best of the best. That lawyer don't hold Nigerian government to ransom so many times, and yet he not be able to take it 2 eyes, see one of our leaders, not even 1 second, for just peep so then close the eye, open and back see them. You know, see them. And then we don't say we supposed to go out there and radically ask. Man, we need for sleep for Nigerian embassies around the world. We need for sleep for Nigerian Foreign Affairs Ministry for Nigeria itself. May they kill me. If they don't kill our leader, why will we die for our country as well? Let us go out there. I don't understand all this talk anymore. Let our leaders, the people, all the cabinet members, they now, whether they hold meeting day and night, they talk and say, one thing where they need to know, that say we need for radically find those our leaders. We not fish down the phone our hands to say, let them show us Sisiku on TV. Let them show us where they are. No, let's demand where they are. We need to go out there, ask Nigeria. Where Nigeria will not see our leaders be. We never see them anywhere else. The last place where we see them there, the last place we will not see them there, for Nigeria, for Abuja. So let's go there. Let the family members open a case of missing persons. We'll start from that position. We get missing persons. Let the Nigerian government tell us, because some people that are lost, we want to find them. May the government tell us. We need to do this. If we don't do and so, we not going to get any headway. Even the UN, the AU, would have, all those people are rubbish and nonsense. We don't need to begin to rely on anybody. We are on our own. We need to use our own strength. We need to use our own things, our own intelligence. We need to stand up and do something. We cannot sit here and wait for the international community. That time will pass.
Well, Raymond, I'm very glad that all you are saying is that we need to wake up and do certain things. We need to hold the UN accountable. Our registered refugees in Nigeria, it's a good thing. Our leaders, we don't know where they are. We don't know if they have been killed. And the UN has said they have seen them. So our refugees could all go in and sit there at the UN office and demand for the UN to show them the leaders that they saw. And that is in Nigeria. That is the action in Nigeria. In Cameroon, the action in Cameroon is a legal action, and it should be taken by Cameroon lawyers. They should demand their government to show them. And our lawyers in Nigeria, I think that they are still in the process of holding. I don't think that Falana would just let it slide, that, oh, the guys have gone. They would continue with legal action in Nigeria against the Nigerian government to ensure that if laws were not respected, the Nigerian government pays for that. That has to continue. Yes, we in the diaspora, we in South Africa, we need to consider going and sleeping at the Nigerian embassy as well and demanding for answers, and it needs to happen all around the world. That brings us to coordination. That brings us to coordination. Our country leaders need to coordinate that this type of action happens. That this type of action happens immediately. If we go and spend days at the Nigerian High Commission, it will bring awareness. International media will come and ask Nigeria questions. Nigeria will be forced to answer. I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to go and spend a week at the Nigerian embassy. So let's divide ourselves into groups and say, okay, this group of 20 would stay in front of the Nigerian embassy for one day. Then tomorrow we change. We do that, and the world would continuously see us in front of Nigerian embassies with placards, and the world is going to ask questions. And when the world is asking questions, Nigeria will be forced to answer. That is a collective. That is a collective. All the arguments that we are doing on Facebook, this one saying this, that one saying that, doesn't help us in any way. Our leaders have been arrested. They might have been killed. They might be in Cameroon. They might have been tortured. The worst might have happened. So we all need to step into the shoes of their families and do what we have to do. So diaspora needs to take its own fair share. And yes, we need to be taking this, we need to continue taking this action in Nigeria, legal action in Nigeria, legal actions in Cameroon. At the same time, we need to defend our land. That brings us to the third thing. Diaspora needs to up their contribution of finances. I mean, we need to put ourselves in a way, if you cannot go to the Nigerian embassy and sleep there like everyone else, you should put in more money at the country level. You should support, you know, say, okay, I cannot go, I'll give $50. I cannot go tonight, I'll give $50. Somebody would go and sleep for you. Let us use this and raise the money that we need to defend our land. Let us use this and raise the money that we need to defend our leaders. When people say we don't have to talk, I wonder, do we have to just tie our hands now and just start fighting? No. Even to fight, we need resources. So we always need to have all those conversations to get to where those, to get to a plan. So this is a plan. Let us Ambazonians walk the talk. Our leaders have walked the talk. They said, Sisiku said, even if in his dead body, this train is moving to Boya, and we have seen him paid. We have seen him. We have seen almost all his entire cabinet and his aides. We have seen them. They have been kidnapped and they are nowhere to be found. Their families are in pain. This is the time for all of us Ambazonians to prove ourselves to the struggle. This is the time for Ambazonians back home to also show their commitment to the struggle. To show the commitment to the struggle. You see, Raymond, when we look at what young people at home in their frustration, they have woken up and they have said, we are not going to watch La République military come and burn down our villages and burn down people in houses and just go scot-free. And they've started defending themselves and taking Cameroon and taking the lives of Cameroon soldiers. That is their right. That is their right. But again, one thing I would say, let us keep emotions aside. If we are supposed to do that, let us take it to where it pains. Mark said it the other day. Let us take it to hampering the economy. I looked at newspapers last week, and a newspaper stated that Bamenda was one of the 5 towns that had the most revenue for the government of Cameroon. And I asked myself, what are we doing? What are we doing? If those boys are annoyed, they should understand that it's the money that La République is making from our country that they are using to finance the military to come and torture us. So our target should be that economic gain. Once La République, once the cost of occupation is more than what they are getting out of the land, they would leave. It makes sense. When the cost of occupation in 1960s, 50s, when African countries demanded too much from their European colonizers, they left. So we must make the cost of occupation greater for La République. It's unimaginable that we paid more taxes than 5 other regions. So these boys should take their anger out at what? Economic interest. Economic interest. Why do we still have tax offices across Ambaland? Because once those tax offices are there, the taxman would go to people's businesses, and when those people don't pay taxes, they will bring police to come and brutalize those people. But if there are no tax offices, no taxman will come and ask, where would they come from? Where will they come from? So our targets should be very clear. For me, there's a lot of risk, there's a lot of resources in fighting the military that is trained, by the way. But what is it? I mean, the tax office is a building, and that building is costing us our money. It's costing our people, the small business. After one day goes down, the week is almost half. Somebody struggles and makes his money in a call box, and the taxman comes and forces them to take money. So we need to start looking at those targets. Southern region, let's start looking at why does timber still continue to leave our villages? Those funny roads, those funny bridges, why do they still exist? Make the cost of occupation higher so that the occupier must leave.
Yeah, I want, you know, we know very clear, we very well which way we want out of this. We want, forget an independent Federal Republic of Ambazonia, simple and clear. And the only way we will do it right now, as we don't already understand, say the world don't leave us to our own perils, now for just take the freedom we want in our hands. We need for let all, because honestly speaking, if our president for Yaoundé right now, once we get proofs of the day Yaoundé, we need to let every single La République administrator may leave Ambazonia. That is what we have to do. If we not send every single administrator, I don't mean say, I mean we have La République citizens where they live amongst us, fine. We have our Nigerian brothers and sisters where they live amongst us, fine. Those are our, we don't get anything to do with them. Administrators, the governors, the DOs, the principals, the judges in court, all those La République administrators, we need to make sure they leave Ambaland. That's one thing we need to do. They don't capture, or we capture all of them as well. They don't capture our president. Now capture that, they capture them. They say they don't take una head for family, they should not fold arms. We cannot sit and wait. We need to start do something. We know she don't, because the moment, look at, if it will be some I mean, if we really be serious, right now, Ambaland for the born. I mean, you know, for even they are normal, they like it's business as usual. Ambazonians in the diaspora, they like it's business as usual. It's not business as usual anymore. Our president is gone. He's not there. We have to do something. We need to stand up and fight this thing, because right now all we are dead people walking. As I should not say so, and tomorrow the FICA can arrest me as well, or dog me and go anywhere. I don't just go and say no man will be safe anywhere in this world. No man will just be as vulnerable as our brothers and sisters in Ambaland. No man will be safe, even for the US. Even for US, which is not the greatest country in the world, as long as they have interest and they want to protect their interest, they will do anything they want to do. Maybe George Bush will say weapons they for Iraq. Weapons they he cook up story, go attack Iraq, do what you want to do for Iraq, can't apologize, say he be sorry. That's so. If you see Nigerian government, we come tomorrow apologize, say, hey, if you check, say these people are terrorists, but nine, if they say no be terrorists, by that time one talk so, all things already happened. These governments are mafios, mafia. If we don't understand, say if government are mafia, then we are just wasting our time. So it is left to us to make sure that we take our freedom by force. We will not feel live as it is right now. As we talk, we hope say the cabinet members where they don't remember that they hear we very clearly. We need answers. Yes, no doubt, Nigeria has the right to arrest any person inside territory, no matter what. But then that person get a right to be afforded a lawyer. That person get a right to see his family. You know, even the worst criminals in the world, they flaunt them on TV. The worst of the worst, where they don't catch them red-handed, they murder person, they cut his neck, they don't they flaunt them out on TV, and everybody see and say yes. Then we're only leaders having a meeting in a hotel and talking. When I don't even get proof of anything, when I just put them under lock and key, no person knows that they did. For all we know, we have to even kill them, and then we should not quiet, just watch, the wait. No, we can't wait anymore. If our leaders don't make a move, stand up now and do something about this and force the world to see, say, we are a nation and we need our integrity, we need our territorial integrity, we need to maintain that territory in our own and to run that territory by ourselves. We need to show and so. If we don't do and so, no person who can do it for we. And man, this waiting is killing me. I don't feel wait anymore for this. For me, some people can't tell me wait to happen.
Well, Raymond, like you have said, the struggle is upon us. It's our responsibility, all of us. We have listed a few things that we all can do collectively and support our interim government. All the work that they need to do, they definitely need resources. So we need to continuously mobilize ourselves. We need to use this opportunity. We need to start seeing people across the world going and sleeping in front of Nigerian embassies, forcing the Nigerian government to talk. We need to see our registered refugees in Nigeria go into the UN office and say they are not leaving until the UN gives them answers. We need to force these things out of these organizations. We need to force them. The La République lawyers need to do their own fair share to ensure that the laws of their countries are intact. Nigerian lawyers as well, they need to get up and do their own fair share. There is a lot of work to be done. All the arguments that I'm seeing on WhatsApp groups, on Facebook, are not necessary because there's a lot of work for all of us. There's work that if we all share, we will still need extra hands. Let us all get into the restoration train with our tools and do the work that is required. If we all do the work, we will get the freedom. We will get the freedom that we require. But if we just sit and talk and talk and talk back and argue and argue and argue, we will never get freedom for the next 100 years. We need to start seeing people, 20 people, country coordinators. You need to now mobilize your people. How many of registered Amazonians are there? Are they 200? Are they 300? 1,000? Start saying, okay, 5 of us would sleep at the Nigerian embassy tonight. Call the international media. They will come and see different people sleeping there every day, different people standing there throughout with posters. I know that in some countries you require permits, but if just a few group of people, like in South Africa, up to 15 people, don't require a permit, yes, I can go and camp there at night. Media will see me. Probably the first day, they will not see. But the second, the third, the fourth day, the world would notice. And when it starts happening across the world, and it's trending on Twitter, the world will demand answers. We need to force the world to demand answers. And our people at home need to understand. There's a saying that whenever a slave attempts to escape and fails to escape and returns back to its master, it is very clear that that slave only goes back to harsher treatment. Now look at what we have gone through the last year, the year before last, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40, the last 56 years. If we let this revolution now and go back to La République, what is going to become of the treatment that they will treat us? Have we ever had any better treatment? Cut any part of the last 56 years and ask yourself, is this what people deserve from their government? Is this what the people deserve? We have never gotten what we deserve. So what now that we have stood up and we have said we want our freedom, and rightfully it's what is ours, we have gone out like that slave that wants to escape captivity. If we go back now, it's going to be worse. We have to know this. If we let this revolution fail, the suffering that our children and our grandchildren are going to suffer will be on our heads. The people that have died, I don't care who killed them, their blood will be on all of our heads if we don't all go out and play our part. So before you take on the argument for 5 hours on Facebook or 6 hours on WhatsApp, ask yourself, are you playing your part? If you are in the diaspora anywhere in the world, if you don't have access to go and sleep in a Nigerian embassy or spend the whole day in a Nigerian embassy to bring awareness, you can contribute money for somebody else to go. You can contribute money. Play your part. Before we start asking, Americans always hold their government to ransom. You know why? Because taxes in America is not even a law. It's a pride. Americans are proud to contribute to their national GDP so that their country is run well. That is why they demand so much of their leaders. They demand so much. So we need to all play our parts so that when we demand so much from our leaders, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yes, in the Bible, the Israelites demanded so much of Moses, and Moses had to strike the rock, to pray and strike the rock, and water came out of it. Yes, we are not in the Moses days now. We understand how the world works these days. Our leaders need resources to make it happen. If it's almost clear that a lot of La Republica spent a lot of money in Nigeria to make this happen. If they have extradited our leaders, what if we had our own money? What if we had our own money? What if we have funded our interim government enough to have the money needed? They could have bought their way through Nigeria as well. That is how Nigeria is. But we don't resource our leaders, we don't resource our government, and we are asking our government to strike the rock and water should come out. It is impossible. It is impossible. So our options are very, very clear. We all stand up like one man and go out and demand answers, but at the same time, and fund our interim government to do the necessary work to defend our territory, to defend our leaders, to ensure that our leaders are treated with dignity. We need to all stand up. We need to all go out.
Yeah. One thing this abduction of our leaders caused and La Republic one time now for cause confusion amongst we. And until I want to talk about them so that maybe we start for the Siam as it bring it evil face in our struggle. You don't make with the point fingers at each other. Now this person do now this person do now this person. At this point in time, it no matter who do weighty, because even if some person do we just say, okay, for example, now John don't do this act. It not go bring them back for play with the day. It not go make semi Nigeria release them, or whether they did Nigeria or Cameroon. We have to focus on our leaders. We give a focus on the struggle and our leaders right now. You see, something they like Republic do, they create crisis within a crisis, so that we go focus on the crisis, and then the real issue go die down. Now, La Republic tactics that way they use them, but it funny me right now that say they don't use that tactics on we, it no work. That way they be arrest our leaders, they be create a crisis within the crisis, and yet we escalate the revolution. Then when they realize the school no go on, they release Bala and the other ones them for try to calm down the situation. Just say we go no, we take them to another level. They don't want to create another crisis, set confusion. You get La Republic agent that they come inside our midst, they accuse people left, center, right, say this person do now this person sell our leaders, and then some of we be so gullible for begin believe all those stupid allegations there, and then we attack ourselves. We forget, we don't take our eyes off the goal. We don't take our eyes off the goal, and now wait till La Republic one time. And if we don't know say La Republic get agents there within us, then we be foolish. La Republic get agents. He get agents. Some of those agents are part on our we Ambazonians. They use we for fuel other crises within this revolution, so that we go spend all our time. They try to follow up, and they see on social media people they spend time to know who sell our leaders, who don't betray our leaders, who be Judas. So he's like, what has that got to do with us going to Boya? It doesn't matter if you catch the person self. It don't go change. Say they don't abduct our leaders. It don't go change them. Wait till we supposed to put our mind in now. Now how to make sure say this our revolution take another level. We need to fund our self-defense units, whoever they be. We need to fund them to make sure say they defend our territory. Me like Republic don't come again inside our territory. As they go to Nigeria, go begin pick people out. Maybe when they pick us in our territory, as they don't when they come and pick we fight back. That's what we should be doing right now. Nobody attack each other. Now the seat of discord that will Republic can plant them inside we, so that we will continue to do this thing, and then we will take our eyes off the goal. And then secondly, we need to make sure we put pressure for know our leaders in day, and to make sure so they release them. Now the goal that we inside as we day now, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Fight La Republic back. Make sure they don't come abduct any of we anymore for wherever we day. As a day here for South, me I don't really take my lessons, make my own arrangement. So me like probably no take say just watch them. Me they don't take care. Any man pack fine, because as a standard so we don't have a war. Whether out of Amberland or within Amberland, we are at war. See how they go kind of bundle our leaders in Nigeria. we don't be comfortable wherever we are, and we don't know say La Republic they use hard currency. They will be controlled by money. Nigeria worse. Money to do anything inside Nigeria. And it just be unfortunate say our leaders, they don't build their lives in Nigeria. Some people, they say, wait till they do they. Now, that question don't make no sense at this point in time. Those people, they don't build their lives in that country. Some of them, they survive now within that country. And one thing where it don't happen, I say, Nigeria will look like they be turn a blind eye to a lot of things where they happen, and they be with things in Nigeria, they support our revolution. Little do we know, say the world is a game of interest, and Nigeria they protect the interest. And so La Republic probably blackmail them, because La Republic tell them say, if we know give you these people, we go leave Boko Haram, kill all the people. I mean, La Republic be capable of that. That's how these people operate. So sometimes you look at so Nigeria should not say, okay, then for me to leave and make La Republic no support me for Boko Haram, make I just do what you have to do whatever. We don't care about the laws, we don't care about international community, we just do anything we like to do them. It happen like that. But then what do we do right now? We get back to the drawing board, and wait till we'll do first. Now we make sure say all our self-defense units are well equipped. All of them are well equipped. We don't see, and we get enough space in Amberland for take care of our self. We get enough space. La Republic agents, La Republic can show you about our terrain. We know the forest they will get them. We know all those places. Let our self-defense units get organized. We need to be organized right now to make sure say no person no come on La Republic can take any of our person go down. That's what we need to do. First thing. Secondly, we for diaspora, we need to up our game financially. We get a lot of people that for diaspora, they make money, but they don't want to put inside this struggle. The time don't reach. As long as you speak this language, as long as you be an Ambazonian, you are a criminal in the eyes of La Republic. You are a terrorist in the eyes of La Republic. They don't arrest people for La Republic airport, even when they don't even participate for the revolution. So at this point in time, if you think say you did free, you are fooling yourself. If you feel say because you come stand for TV like me and Derek, they shout, they talk all this talk, they talk so then you are free. You are fooling yourself. You speak this language, you are an Ambazonian, you are a terrorist. So all we get to know that one. Then what we need to do? We need to put money for down. We need to put money for down. We don't fish down. This struggle no go anywhere without finances. Our self-defense units, they no go shit down, make things just happen. They need finances as well. So right now, at the time we'll give up our game, we are on our own. May always get, always sleep with this one for our mind. Nobody will support us. We are on our own. We need to pump the finances inside the struggle. I mean, when he had any one of we, even this $20 I talk be too small. It be too small. If all of us will bring out $50 to $100 every month, we'll make miracles. La Republic of try we like that. And I want to tell Isa Baskemaudi and Bia, say, if anything happen, if the hair come off for one of our leaders' heads, or burn that country down.
Well, so many people keep asking, what is the way forward? That is the way forward. We need to act towards freeing our land. The people in homeland, La Republique is making most of its money from Ambazonia. We need to stop that. We need to attack their economic interests. In business, they always say that when resources are small, you have to tackle the most important things first. The most important things is that La Republique should stop making money out of us. That is it. La Republique should stop making money from Amberland. Our people in Amberland should start considering using even a foreign currency. Start using Naira. Start using the dollar. Why do we use their money? We should consider that. That is what it means from leaving the oppressor. We need to abandon their currency gradually. Let us start accepting the Naira. Let us start accepting the dollar. Accept the euro. Accept stable currencies. Once the CFR is not used, the people who are technologically savvy start adopting cryptocurrency. Once we are not using La République money, that shithole country would fall. That shithole country would fall. They will not have the money. So people in the home front, you need to look at how you can effectively affect or affect their economy. The timber is coming from Amazonia. The petroleum is coming from Amazonia. It goes through tiny villages with small bridges. Why the hell do you leave those bridges there? How do those trucks even come and sleep by the side of the road and you let them? That is the money that they are using to fund the military that comes and kills us. So the guys who are doing self-defense, the effectiveness is to cut the head, and the head is the money for La République. That is the work that needs to happen at home. In the diaspora, we know what needs to be done. First, we need to sacrifice and fund the struggle. We need to sacrifice and fund those boys in ground zero. Sacrifice means you go beyond. I mean, $20 was what is comfortable. Right now, the way things are standing, we need to do what is uncomfortable. Everybody needs to change their donations from $20 and even double or triple. If you can, we need to do that. We need to sacrifice. We need to go beyond. We need to go beyond what we are doing. And with the situation of our leaders, because we need to fight for them, we need to fight for their families, I think it's critical that their family members need to get together, especially in the Western world, and file some lawsuits. If they have family members in America, they need to get together and file some lawsuits in America too about the whereabouts of their family. They need to sue the Nigerian government. They need to sue the La République government. They need to sue the UN as well. The UN said they saw the leaders. So the UN has got a lot of explanations to do. We need to force the Nigerian government to talk. How? We need to cause bad PR for the Nigerian government, which means all country heads need to adopt, mobilize people in groups. They go to the Nigerian, let's occupy Nigerian embassies. If they don't allow us to go inside, that's okay. Let a few people with big banners stand outside Nigerian embassies throughout the day, exchange in the evening, let some stand throughout the night. International media will see that. The whole world will start talking. Once the world starts talking about what Nigeria has done, what will happen is the Nigerian stock would fail. The Nigerian stock would fall. Every country is registered to the stock exchange. When there is bad PR, right now you see the dollar falling because of all the things that Donald Trump is doing against other currencies. Once we start putting that kind of bad publicity on Nigeria, that is how investors would start looking at Nigeria as a country that does not respect laws, and pressure would be on Nigeria. Every nation in the world, once it starts bleeding, it wants to stop the bleeding. But that bleeding we must cause them to bleed somehow, and that bleeding for Nigeria, we can hold them with bad PR, and that bad PR means a lot of work. It doesn't mean comfortable work. It means now I must be prepared that in a week I have a day or two to go with a group and sleep in front of the Nigerian embassy with placards so that the world can see. I need to be prepared to do that to free homeland. I need to be prepared to do that to free Sisiku. So we all need to collect. That's the way forward. I don't understand why every day people, what's the way? No, the way forward is all of us need to do what needs to be done. We need to force the hand of Nigeria to do the right thing. And to force the hand of Nigeria, we need to occupy Nigerian embassies around the world 24/7. If they are there, we are there. If they are not there, we are there. 24/7. International media will pick it up. It will be all over Twitter, and what will happen is that Nigeria will bleed economically, and when they start bleeding, they will talk. They will talk. They will talk. But at the same time, we need to fund our interim government. We need to fund our self-defense. But self-defense need to understand. You cannot just be doing things randomly. Let us target economic interests. Let us bleed La République where it pains. It's the money. It's the money. If La République does not have money, they will not be able to pay Nigeria. So let us target the money. The money is coming from the resources. It's coming from taxes. It's coming from collection of taxes. They force our people and collect their taxes. Our people need to start exchanging your CFR to other currencies. Once you start dumping the CFR, it's going to affect the entire French interest. Once a lot of million francs are changed into Naira and all that, and the CFR is stagnant, everybody will notice. Everybody would notice, and what would happen is that the French would panic, because it's the circulation and the use of the CFR that is enriching them. We need to go outright on the economic interest. Why do taxation of the first place that we are supposed to ensure that it doesn't exist at taxation offices? Report says the Bamenda was the fifth city that La Republique collected taxes for. How can that be possible? How can we miss that? Because it's all the money that La Republique collects that they use for bribes in Nigeria. They use to pay the military to come and terrorize us. So the self-defense groups should know what to target. Target economic targets. Make the cost of occupation very expensive for the occupier, and the occupier would go. The occupier would go. Make the cost of occupation very expensive. Nigeria, the strategy for Nigeria is that we go PR on Nigeria. All across the world, country coordinators, organize your people, let teams start sleeping in front of the Nigerian embassy. This team goes in the morning, sits there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Another team comes and replaces them, sits there from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning with posters. You take pictures, you tweet them. When that starts happening across the world would pick it up. The media will pick it up. They would start talking about it. It is very bad PR for Nigeria. Investors would not like to invest in a country whose laws, which does not respect their laws. And we don't have money, we don't have $1 million to pay a PR company, like La Republique is paying PR companies to call us separatists. The world does not care about what the truth is. The truth, La Republique is paying their truth with money, and that money is coming from Ambazonia. We need to stop that money from coming from Ambazonia. We need to stop that. We need to stop that. So this thing is a collective. It's not about talking. We need to all walk the talk. Let everybody do their own. Let everybody do their own work, and you will see it work. Let's leave the arguments on Facebook. Let's leave the arguments on WhatsApp and go and do work. And go and do work. I'm going to call my country coordinator today and say, listen, we need to start sleeping at the Nigerian embassy, and I'm ready to start. I'm ready to start. We exchange. So that's the way forward. We need to put pressure. We need to put money.
All right. You know, it really be, you know, sad to say things that happen the way they do. But then, this one at the time where we supposed to get more courage, more, you know, hope, because for one, if we nobody do anything, if we nobody, if this our fight, this our revolution never touch some person for a nerve center, they don't go arrest our leaders. If they nobody don't arrest, if this kind of thing will happen for we, then we are doing nothing. The mere fact say La Republique, they try in every way around for make sure say they stop what we do, means say we are doing something good. We are winning this struggle, and therefore we need to take them to another level. We need to push them harder. Some people, them, you know, since the arrest or the abduction of our leaders, I don't get people the way they don't. They didn't even come online again. They didn't even talk. They feel so down. You call them, the way they talk to you, it be like they want to kill themselves. Right? Now time is the way you instead stand up strong with the knowledge, say the world knows that there is a place called Ambazonia. The world knows say we get power. Now the power within that territory make them. La Republique run helter-skelter. Now the power within that territory they make, and the world is not quiet like say they need to see them, because they know which way will be. They know they get a lot of interest in that territory, and until we hold that territory for ourselves, may they can start bargaining with we. We no go get any headway. They bargain with La Republic because La Republic gets a stronghold on that territory. We need to take a whole arm. When you don't take a whole arm, because there's something in, we know say there are no permanent friends in politics. You don't get permanent friends in politics. You gain an interest, friends. The person who serve your interest now be your friend. So if we in the diaspora can fund our self-defense sufficiently enough for them, for take territory, hold on, tell the world, say this is our land, we own this place now. Man, who you think say the West will can't negotiate with? They go negotiate with the person who hold the place. You know? So if we think say some West will can't start the support, we not even get backsides when our own. And then we will only waste our time. We need to up our game, financially and otherwise. We need to up our game and take territory, hold them, capture. We need to capture them, send all the La Republic agents away from there. When we do and so, we put borders. We make sure say no man will push it back. The international community will take note. Countries will start camp back there, say, oh, you know something, your boy, we fit negotiate this matter. And then we will do so for now. It is a give and take. It's a wall of interest. If we not do that one, we are going nowhere. So even though we still get diplomacy as one of the arm of this, we need to push diplomacy. I'm telling us, we no fit rely only on one prong of approach. We need all of them. And yes, right now we get to escalate self-defense because they don't think they burn our villages and our towns like that. We don't even get no better house themselves. We don't even get no better things that they can't spoil the one way first day. They can't destroy the one way first day. You know? So we give us stand up. Everybody, we stop this finger pointing people, left, center, right. We stop this in-house fighting because they talk say a house divided can never be strong. And the more we fight amongst ourselves, and the more La Republic go to foil them. They go to push those agents within us. When they see the fight, they go to foil the fight. They go to send things them to make sure say we know be in one accord. We need to collaborate. Make sure say we take away the enemy. Then we can fight inside house now. See who it pass who. That's what we're supposed to do.
This it's very clear our work is cut out for us if we all do the work that is necessary. If Southern Cameroonians in Belgium, if they decide that this week is that dark week for the Nigerian embassy, they divide themselves into groups, they make rosters, 20 people in the morning, or it's 10 people in the morning, 6 o'clock they exchange another 10 with posters telling the world exactly what Nigeria has done. The world would notice that. When we do it across the world, every day the world will notice that. And when they notice that, the pressure would get onto Nigeria and Nigeria will talk. Nigeria has made a couple of legal diplomatic blunders, but we need to force them to talk. We need to force them to talk. La République, we need La République lawyers to stand up and defend their country's constitution. Chiruma said they have handed our leaders to the judiciary. The lawyers in La République, all of them, everybody who is interested in or is a preserver of their law needs to stand up and call their government to follow its laws. When you arrest somebody, there is need to prove of life. You need to know if that person is there. You need to show that person. Lawyers need to see that person. Your country needs to see and know where that person is. That needs to happen. La République lawyers need to put that pressure. Our interim government also needs to jump on that bandwagon. Hire even some francophone lawyers to push their government. We need to hold La République at all ends. We know where La République is taking their money from. They are milking Amazonia. If we are putting in money and funding self-defense, that money should turn self-defense, they should turn and start looking at economic interests and ensure that La République stops milking us. Killing 10 gendarmes doesn't disturb any economic interest because the same time you are killing 10 gendarmes, that very moment a tree of timber is being transported and is worth way more than that. It's worth the pay of 20 more gendarmes to be sent to come and burn down a village. Once La République is not making that money, they will be unable to do that. The cost of occupation will be too high and they will be forced to quit. They will be forced to quit. We need to force their hands. We need to target the things that matter the most, and what matters the most to La Republique is money, the taxes that they collect in our market. If there are no taxation offices, if there are no taxation officers in Ambaland, I don't understand. La Republique will not be able to collect tax. So we need to focus on the things that matter, and what matters is the money. They say follow the money. In the West, they always say follow the money. We need to follow the money. We need to ensure that in the next few weeks, La Republique is unable to pay for what they are doing on us. They are unable to make money from Ambazonia. We need to, that is where our attention at home needs to go. How do they make money in Ambazonia? Through taxation, through exploitation of timber, of oil, and all that. That is what we need to start looking at right now. We need to start looking at how do we stop that. We need to stop that, because once you stop that, even their creditors would come calling. The people who are loaning La Republique money, those loans are hedged on natural resources. And once La Republique doesn't have access to those resources, their debtors would start putting pressure on them. They would run on their own. They would beg on their own. But you need to hold them where it pains. You need to hold them where it pains. So our work is cut out. There's enough work for everybody. There is enough work. We all need to go out and do our own fair share of work. I'll contribute my money. I'm going to call our leadership in South Africa and say, we need to start going and sleeping at the Nigerian embassy until Nigeria talks. Let us put a roster up. I'll put my name first. You would see pictures. I'll be the first person to sleep at the Nigerian embassy. I'll be in the very first group. I would sleep there. So let us walk the talk. Let us walk the talk. Let us leave the arguments on Facebook and go and do our own share. There is work enough for everybody. There is work enough for everybody. When somebody starts an argument with you, ask them if they have contributed their own $500 freedom fund that the Secretary of Finance demanded that we all contribute. If almost 500,000 to 1 million of us arguing on Facebook every day, if we all contribute our own $500, our government will have the money required to force La Republique out. So let us do what is necessary and stop the unnecessary arguments. And let us go and be arguing in front of the Nigerian embassy, with posters telling the world what Nigeria has done to us. We need to force Nigeria. Let us, in Nigeria, only in Nigeria, that our refugees that are registered with the UN, they need to go and sleep at the UN. Let them feel the UN and say that is the only place they feel safe, because the UN registered them, and according to the Refugees Act, the UN needs to protect them. So they should go and sleep there and demand answers as well. We need to put pressure from all ends. This is sacrifice across the board. We have been too comfortable. We have been too comfortable. We need to all wake up and do the work.
Our technical director, we say we'll get calls to the Derek. I don't know if we will take calls.
Well, we still have some minutes. We can open our lines up for calls for the next 15 minutes, the remaining of the show, and hear what our people are thinking. But clearly, the dial has been cast. We all need to do our part. So we want people to call in and start telling us what is that part that they would play. I have said, I'm going to call my leadership. I'm going to force them that let's go and force the Nigerian embassy by sleeping at the embassy. I will start. I will be the first person to go and sleep there. Let us do this thing. We all have to do it. So we'll open our lines. There will be a number will come up on your screens. You can call into the studio and share your perspective. If you're in the diaspora, tell us what you are doing to make sure that we get to Boya. Tell us your own fair contribution. If you're in the homeland, we know that you are sacrificing a lot. Tell us how you are coping. Let us all do what is necessary to get that homeland.
We just wait for get the indication from our technical team director if we get calls, and it will really be fine, because we only talk and we need to get perspective from home and other people them around the world. We'll find say maybe we also get other people that get feedback, because this issue of our president, he don't take we to some level right now, and a lot of people they talk left, center, right. Any person get own theory, they put them out there. But like every other person, me I go be to a Thomas for wait for he see whether they day. And yes, we give to prepare ourselves for every scenario for this MIT we don't happen. So we need to prepare ourselves for every scenario. Everything is possible. It's a very wicked world, and we need to prepare ourselves. But while we do so, Nigeria give a talk. We need to put pressure bear on Nigeria to make a statement. So the directors against they don't prepare for us to receive shows or calls.
Yeah, well, so we all know what we need to do. Let us all get to work. We want to start reporting on SCBC, how many people are sleeping on how many embassies, Nigerian embassies across the world, to ensure that the world knows what. That is the only way that will bring attention and will cover all headlines, media headlines across the world. We need to force the news. They say you have to write your own story. This is how we can write our stories. Call your country heads and tell them to organize rosters for people to camp in Nigerian embassies day and night until Nigeria talk. Let us do this across the world. We have about 27 different countries that have organized themselves. Let us do that in all 27 countries, all at the same time. The world will talk about it. Nigeria would be forced to talk. Until Nigeria speaks, we are not leaving the embassies. Let us go in groups of 10 with big posters. Spend 12 hours there in front of Nigerian embassy, then go. The next day, the next group, in the evening, the next group comes and sleep there as the guard. World media is going to see it and start talking about it. Nigeria will be forced to give answers. At the same time, we need to start paying for this revolution. If you cannot appear on the roster to go and sleep on the Nigerian embassy, pay money for that. Say, okay, I would pay $100 for my own one day. I'll pay $50 for my own. Let us use this and raise the money that we need. Let us raise the money that we need. The people at home, the target on La Republique needs to be where it pains, and it is the money. It is the money. It is economic interest. Once La Republique cannot pay for the occupation, once what they are making in Ambazonia is less than how much they are spending to stay there and make that much, they will be forced to go. Reason would want them to go. We will not even need to fight them. Taxes need to end. So our self-defense groups, you need to start looking at economic sabotage more than killing people. Remember, the killings are the red flags that La Republique used to blindfold the international community and try to establish the terrorist act. But once it becomes economic sabotage, clearly the world knows that something is wrong, and those people are agitating, and the world's attention is there. We need to be strategic. We need to leave emotions aside and do this thing in a way that will affect the enemy. It's not just about killing military people, because you kill 10 military people, La Republique just needs one timber trunk. How much does that give them? Enough money. One timber trunk, it's enough money to employ 20 more. And for sure, there is enough unemployment in La Republique that every day there will be recruitment into the military if they continue making money. So let us use some common sense and know what we are doing and know what we are targeting. Let us stop just doing everything for anger. If you're emotional, you just go out and burn a school. No, that does not affect. It affects La Republique in very little ways. If it becomes something that is directly affecting the economic interest, that is stopping them from making money from Ambazonia, they will bleed. They will bleed. And when we do that enough, when La Republique stops making money from Ambazonia, La Republique would go. La Republique would go. So let us do this. Let us do this together. For me, I don't have anything to say. That is the way forward. We don't even need a strategy. The way forward, stop La Republique from making money from Ambazonia. Fund our government, fund our self-defense. But the self-defense, the goal is clear. Stop them from making money in Ambazonia. They will not be able to pay for a military. They will not be able to recruit more military. Let us force Nigeria to talk. I'm going to be one of the first people to start. I'm calling my leadership from when I get off this call and say, we need to organize and start. Let us make a roster. Put up a roster. Let's put our names. Let's start at the Nigerian embassy and see how it goes. So let us go out and do it. That is the way forward.
All right, we'll round up the show for today, and the message is clear. We need to stand on our own and fight this terrorist government waiting for our land. We're not going to relent our efforts. All Ambazonians around the world are terrorists, and we need to consider ourselves as such, and then fight the people they call we terrorists for clear our names, because we just be now like criminals in the face of the world. And until we take our land whole, it go difficult for any person for even recognize we, or for even can negotiate with we. So high time don't reach, we need to get that straight and make sure say we claim even part of our land whole. Better we'll go claim only Bakassi decides we will come up for the, and then we'll say we'll get the oil for our hand. Anybody want to talk anything about oil, we're going to turn away. So we'll take the whole of Indian self, me one team and not even pass come over the, so that the world will not say we don't take the bread basket of La Republic, and they will can't see now we have to negotiate. Time don't reach for that kind of thing. They won't need for picking the hit the run. We go hit the run for how long? You know go last. We go only hit run. They can't kill our people again. We hit run. They can't kill our people. We need to form a formidable force for take a territory, hold on to that territory, defend them, so that we fit that talk with people in the world as people they get their own land. So that's what we need to do. Diaspora, we need to put money inside the struggle. Put them as much as we fit. If you say you stop, so you until you do them, because you must lose some to gain some. You must sacrifice some certain things to get another thing. If we want to get Ambaland, we need to sacrifice some luxuries they want to live on. You know, we need to sacrifice on things the way we take and the plane and play with and we entertain ourselves. But make sure say we put money for inside this struggle, may work. So I want to thank Omar we come on today for watch the show, and we hope say we'll carry this message, send them outside. Maybe we'll come collaborate. We'll collaborate now. Make sure say we push these people out, and then we come inside house can fight. That time for leadership of whatever. My one fight, take power, I want to do it. That one I own. But that time we'll send these people out first before we can begin look that one. You know. So we'll do again on Saturday. And yeah.
We want to thank all our viewers for watching. SCBC is upping its game already. We have seen a lot of Ambazonian talents singing and producing a lot of music to promote the struggle. So SCBC is also preparing a show to promote Ambazonian music. So we are hoping that within February we'll launch that music show. And a lot of people have requested for a pigeon show, you know, under Beledi Camp. So there is a pigeon show that is coming up as well. We want to produce a lot more of Ambazonian content. And yes, we know that our children are sitting at home and not going to school. We need to start teaching them. SCBC is that platform. We are looking forward to starting educational programs once we have the people who are able to do that, and preferably entrepreneurial programs that will teach children how to make value out of nothing, teach children at home how to start businesses, how to build sustainable businesses. We need millionaires in Ambazonia. La Republic has cost us the last 50 years. We don't have dollar millionaires. I mean, if we had, you would have seen an Ambazonia just say, you know what, we need $2 million, here's a check. But we need to build those people. We need to start cultivating that culture now by teaching our young. The world is a business place. The world is a marketplace. So we are hoping to get resource persons to start teaching business courses, startup courses. How can you take, you know, $100 and start up a business with something around and start offering a service that people need, and start making a lot of money and build a business out of that? We need to start that on SCBC. We need to use SCBC to build homeland. So be looking out for a lot of great programs. SCBC has got a big surprise that is also going to land in the month of March. That is going to change broadcasting in the entire region, because we are looking at some big wigs that will join the team. So it's going to, there's a lot of great things that will happen in the next coming weeks and months. We thank you so much for supporting the channel. We thank you, but we are not in Boya yet. We are not in Boya yet. We cannot relent now. We can only double our efforts to get to Boya. Let us have our leaders and their families in prayers. Let us do what is necessary to force our enemies to ensure our leaders' safety, to force our enemies to give us our freedom. Thank you so much for watching. We'll leave you to some Amba music, and it's good night.
See you next time.
Southern Cameroon, now for my fair with me, I go pass. Southern Cameroon, now for boy with me, I go lewa. Southern Cameroon, now for Kumba with me, I go stay.
You don't get no problem, they shoot you for that door. For that door, right for that door.
Na for Mutengene, na for Mampe, na for Tombo, na for Mwa, na for Ombe, na for Limbe, na for hey, yeah. Where the freedom is, where them they beat us like this, yeah. Where the future of our kids, where them they brutalize us like this for streets. Where them good roast them day, where man you walk out from Kumba to Mamfe. Where the promises them day, where picking up we go set to school. I know say pay battle, therefore this level me, I don't know. Jacka de folewa, police enter rape my sway, I don't know. Them the whip students, them with sticks. Them the slap lawyers, them for streets. Them they follow we, they drag we. Them molest we, they crack we like say we thief. Them they beat us, they carry us, they go. Them they mash we, they turn we for mud. Them they throw away we crashing water for skin out. Them they flow we with the gas, them for house. Hey! Southern Cameroon, not for Bamenda way, yeah they. Southern Cameroon, not for Mamfe with me, I go pass. Southern Cameroon, not for Boya with me, I go lewa. Southern Cameroon, not for Kumba with me, I go stay. The pain is too much, we cannot take it, no more. Make una live we, hey, we go survive. We are living in fear. All the bad people make una hear. Them say them go do this, go do that. They promise and fail. This time you don't fail. Them they mash we, they turn we for mud. Them they throw away we crashing water for skin out. Them they flow we with the gas, them for house. Hey! Southern Cameroon, not for Bamenda way, yeah they. Southern Cameroon, not for Mamfe with me, I go pass. Southern Cameroon, not for Boya with me, I go lewa.